You know, if you're just starting out, you're not going to be able to compete with the margins that a distributor has. So that's why I say, you know, dive deep into these niche categories, and that's where you're really going to find the, you know, mid to smaller size brands to work with.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com, coming back to you with another video here with Brad. Good to see you, man.
Nice to see you, Steve. What's going on?
Hey, man, we're in the warehouse now. Not gonna lie, we're sweating a little bit, so we're not that nervous. It's just like 90 degrees in here right now. So, you know, Brad, he is 22, about to turn 23, if I'm correct.
September, yeah, I'll be 23.
And you've been reselling now on, did you start with eBay?
I was dabbling in eBay a little bit, but I really started in Amazon.
Okay, so you had started in Amazon. I think that was what, over a year and a half ago?
Just under a year and a half ago.
Okay,
yeah.
Under a year and a half ago. And Brad had started with retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, thrifting. He was watching some of the classic Raiken videos. Yep. And really over the last 8 months, he's shifted and pivoted his business from a very strong retail arbitrage model, which is going to, you know, different retail stores like Walmart, Target, Barnes & Noble, places like that, buying stuff and selling on Amazon. He shifted from that hustle to wholesale on Amazon now.
Yep.
And one of the things that has allowed Brad to scale to $70K a month now in revenue with, I would say, an average, anywhere between like a 10 to 30% profit margin. It depends on the products.
Yep.
Probably maybe averaging around 20 if you had to guess.
Maybe a little bit lower than that.
A little lower than that.
18. Somewhere around there.
Gotcha. So he's been able to scale to $70,000 in revenue with around 18% profit margin, give or take. The big foundational thing that you've really been focusing on that we were talking about behind the scenes was making phone calls. So let's talk to people about your wholesale business, and for the folks who want to start wholesale, why it's so important to call wholesalers versus emailing. And let's just talk a little bit about your strategy. I'm being somewhat vague here because we've already recorded multiple videos, so this video is probably going to be posting maybe third or fourth in line. So if you haven't seen the previous videos that we recorded, I'll link that up down below. I'll also link Brad's YouTube channel as well, which he just started. So hopefully by the time of this recording, he's up over a couple hundred subscribers.
Hopefully we can get there, man.
So let's talk about why you chose to scale your wholesale business making phone calls, and let's talk about who you're actually calling, and then we'll play some games and discuss like how he's making the phone calls and stuff.
Definitely, yeah. I love, this is my favorite topic because I'm really passionate about it, and I think that this is the best way to start scaling your wholesale business. A lot of companies that I work with are so used to getting generic emails, receiving templates from Amazon resellers saying, hey, I've seen your ratings on Amazon and we would like to sell your products on Amazon. You have to attack this really in a different angle, and that's the other thing. Steve and I, you know, we were talking off the camera about this, is kind of attack it in a way where you're providing value to them and you're giving to them instead of asking to sell their products.
Because that's what's all the Amazon sellers are sending a cookie cutter template asking for business.
Exactly. And so I do this by phone call. So let's jump into that a little bit.
Well, first, can we preface by saying, because I don't want to confuse people, who are you calling first and foremost? Because we did make a video we recorded, I'll link it down below. It's titled The Old Way versus the New Way, Selling Wholesale on Amazon. So we touched on that. Don't call distributors, at least for your model. You're focusing more on reverse wholesale sourcing. So who are you calling?
I'm calling brand owners.
Okay.
Maybe I'm calling manufacturers too. Really going straight to the source and cutting out the distributor, and which, like we said in the last video and off camera, is the profit margin's a lot higher when you go straight to the source. So that's who I'm calling, brand owners. You know, I may be calling companies and I'm talking to sales representatives, so it's not always the brand owner. If I'm talking to maybe, or if I'm reaching out to a large company, I'm not going to get the brand owner on the phone, but that would be ideal.
Have you talked to CEOs and stuff?
I have, yeah.
That's cool.
Not I mean, obviously not huge companies, because that's not really our target. We want to find those niche products. That's what I'm doing, is speaking to sales reps, speaking to brand owners, speaking to vice presidents, people who have a say in what goes on at the company, and maybe they've had a lot of challenges with Amazon, and that's how I like to approach the conversation. I may start the conversation with, let's pivot for a minute. So instead of saying, hey, can I sell your products on Amazon?
Which everyone's doing.
Maybe I'll say, we are interested in opening a wholesale account with your company. I am an e-commerce business owner. We do sell on Amazon. Can you tell me a little bit more about your policies on Amazon and how has the platform been going for you? That's one way to start to open it up and put the ball in their court so then they can tell you the problems that they have on Amazon.
Because if they're saying everything's amazing, this and that, or we hate Amazon sellers, we'll never take one on, you're asking an open-ended question to understand more about them so you can then help them.
Exactly, and that's really where you start and kind of how you gauge where the person on the other phone is. Maybe they're extremely against Amazon sellers, maybe they haven't explored Amazon that much, or maybe they're working exclusively with one or two companies. And if that's the case, this is really, it's a sales job kind of. You're almost cold calling. So I like to look at it as how many sales can you make, meaning how many accounts can you close and how many price lists can you get.
So what is a close? What is a conversion to you? Is a close, because you're not really making a sale, I would assume the close is when you get that price list. They give you permission, they give you the price list, which in a sense gives you an entire catalog of what they have available for sale, so then you're able to choose what you want, right? Is that the close, getting permission, getting that price list?
Yeah, I would consider that to be the close, right? So the brand sends me a price list, I just close the account.
Gotcha.
But before we get too excited, now we have to go through the price list and see if the product is even profitable.
So even a close doesn't mean throw a party, because you can close an account, go through everything, and not have a deal.
Exactly.
Although, what I'm confused with is because on one of our previous videos, we had talked about how you do your research on Amazon. So Brad would do all his research on Amazon in terms of what products to target. He'll stalk people's stores, right?
Number one tactic.
Yeah, store stalking. And I guess what that means is he goes in and he finds the products that he wants to sell, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to lock down that product at the price you need. So what I'm confused with is, say you're stalking somebody's store and you see that they're selling these, I don't know, give me a random product idea.
A supplement, vitamin C or something.
Isn't it so funny, like when we do these, like there's a billion products. It's like, all right, just pick a random product.
Yeah.
So when you find a competitor selling it, you can look on that Amazon listing and you can see who they're getting it from in a sense, right? Isn't that how it is? So like if Raiken Profit's selling it, because remember you were telling me like there's a company associated with it?
Yeah, so if you look at the product listing on Amazon, and if you're familiar with the buy box at all, you'll see underneath the buy button, sold by Raiken Profit and fulfilled by Amazon. And I can click on the hyperlink for Raiken Profit's storefront. That'll jump me over to Raiken Profit's storefront, and then from there I can see all the products that Raiken Profit
So then
sells.
How do you eventually find the brand?
So from there, what I'll do is if I see products that might catch my eye based on how much they're selling for, or I can look at the Keepa graph and see that it's selling really fast. What I can do then is I will jump over to Google and I'll
type in the product name.
I'll punch in the company name.
Oh, gotcha.
So that way I'm getting put now in contact with the company, and then I'll record down a phone number or an email.
Okay, so the question I had was, once you find the company, you know who the company is, you know that this person's selling it successfully. You know how you said you closed the deal, but it doesn't mean you really, quote unquote, are ready to throw a party, because you might not be able to find the product. Why is that? Like, because you know someone else is doing it, is it because they might be buying huge quantities and getting it cheaper, or they have a special deal? Why is it not an automatic win?
Yeah, that's a great question, Steve. It's not an automatic win just yet, because like you said, maybe they could be a distributor, that the storefront could be a distributor storefront, so maybe they're willing to take a 2% profit margin or a 3% profit margin because they're doing $100 million, $60 million, $50 million. If you're just starting out, you're not going to be able to compete with the margins that a distributor has. So that's why I say, dive deep into these niche categories, and that's where you're really going to find the, mid to smaller size brands to work with.
Yeah, a lot of my mentors that I've had on the channel, you guys probably know Dan Dillon. I've had a couple close friends of mine come on the channel, and a lot of them say the same things. when they're sourcing, reverse sourcing, they're trying to find small to mid-sized companies. They're not looking to work with these large companies at all. So it's interesting that you're following a similar formula.
Yeah.
So you jump on the call, and sorry, I took you off on a different route, but you jump on the call. The goal is to, of course, like we had just mentioned, get that price list, get that agreement for you to be able to sell it. So now your job is to go through and you're running all the numbers. So you're plugging them all into a software, I'm assuming. Do you use a software to run your price list through, or do you manually do it?
No, I manually run all of my price lists. So I'm old-fashioned a little bit with that. I at some point I hope to dive more into a software that'll save me a lot of time, or maybe a VA or something.
If anyone knows, let us know.
Yeah, but I do all my own kind of sifting through manually, and from there, I'll be able to gauge it based on what is my comfortable profit margin, or what is my comfortable sales per month, or return on investment.
Yeah.
So if you start with a certain criteria, it automatically filters out a lot of other factors, because it's very easy to get super excited about getting a price list and then try to make it work.
Got it.
And that's the thing, is you don't want to try to make something work that really isn't there. If you got to look at this completely objective and say, here are the numbers, here's how many sell a month, here's the profit that I'm going to make at the end of the month. It works or it doesn't work. It's not, I've reached out to 300 companies and I finally closed one deal. It's a time-intensive business, and it takes a lot of work up front, and you just got to, stay confident, stay motivated in reaching out to these companies, and be confident in the process. You're not going to get accounts right off the bat. You're going to be bad on the phone at first, but once you start to get that groove, once you start to feel out, your sales pitch, so to speak, you'll start to get into it more.
Yeah, so it's a process. If you're looking to get into wholesale, look into utilizing the phone. Understand it's a process. You're gonna have to learn your script. You're gonna have to learn what to say. You're gonna have to learn your selling points, so on and so forth. But that's what's worked for you.
It has.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, drop a comment down below. Let us know, and hopefully we get Brad in the comments. Check his YouTube channel out. Link in description. But yeah, appreciate the tips, man.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, see you in the next one.
Take it easy, guys.